Tough day, as it always promised to be, I guess, coming to a team flying so high in the early weeks of the season in League One. How did you see it, Paul?
No, it turned out to be that way. I think for quite a bit of the game at 2-0, we were well in the game, but they're very good at what they do, and they punished a couple of mistakes, certainly punished a mistake with the third goal to, in reality, kill the game off. We spoke at half-time about the importance of the third goal, because felt that if we could get it, naturally the scoreline, you can make a crowd and team edgy. And we started the second half well. But, as I said, you have to give them credit, they're very good at what they do. We spoke, I think, on Friday about quite comfortable without the ball. We've had times when we haven't had the ball in games and done okay. But ultimately we gave a helping hand in terms of the goals that makes an already difficult task so much harder.
Yeah, when you come to a place so well backed by lots of vociferous home supporters, those early stages are so important, aren't they? You almost got through that first 15 minutes without conceding, and then the opening goal does go in. Yeah,
I think they almost lull you in, if I'm honest. I think the last twice I've been here, we've had plenty of the ball. Sort of feel like you're causing them issues to a degree, but then the next minute they kind of almost break and score. What I would say is they work extremely hard without the ball. We spoke about that, and I think that's what Phil's got his team doing. Maybe easier when you're used to winning games, when your scoreline's in your favour, but they do work extremely hard and make life difficult. But they've still got some good players, but they're willing to put that work in. And what I would say, you mentioned the crowd. Yeah, it's great, but we had excellent backing as well. And like I said, just frustrated with the goals at important times. I think we was about 17 minutes the first, but still, at 1-0, you're obviously very in the game. The second, on 41 minutes, you're kind of getting towards thinking about your half-time team talk, and it was, look, keep playing. I think if you keep a clean sheet that second half, you can certainly take something from the game, if not go on and win it. Now, the scoreline at 3-0, people might think that that's sort of crazy talk, but I'm talking at that point in the game, felt like like I said, we were well in it. So to concede before half-time was disappointing, and like I said, the third just kills the game off.
You had your moments in between the first two goals, didn't you? Leo Castledine had a couple of efforts, if I remember correctly, and could you see something happening? Were you quite encouraged at that stage?
I always think you can. I think it's hard to create too many clear-cut chances against them, if I'm being honest. But at the same time, I think you have play and spells, and when a cross goes in the box, sometimes there's an element of fortune in terms of whether it's that inch higher or inch lower to cause problems. Leo had a header. I think Mal put a great ball in, didn't quite get a flick on it. It was really awkward for the keeper. He watched it well. And like I said, I think we had comfortable possession, which again is kind of, they're okay with that. They're getting that sort of defensive structure that they've got, and then look to break from there. But overall, stood on the side, it didn't feel like we were getting massively outplayed or anything like that. Towards the end, that's different. But like I said, up until that third goal, certainly, it's always felt like we'd got a chance to.
You gave a debut to Funso Ojo after his arrival at the club on loan. Happy with how he did in the middle of the pack?
Yeah, well, he's just said there in terms of him coming in and showing how fit he is at 33 years old, the way that he looks after himself. There's credit to him. Not easy, but I think he showed at times the ability to get on the ball and just kind of take a bit of sting out of the game. And we'll work up and down and compete. There are a couple of times, for a ball player, seen him, he's got an edge to him. And that's what I think some of us perhaps, or some of the players need to adopt. Obviously got to within the rules, but I think you have to have an aggression and a nastiness to you at times. And I think, again, I'm not being disrespectful, it's a compliment. I think a lot of their players have got that, a very experienced group that they've got, and know how, they've near enough done nothing but win games, and know what it takes to win games.
How difficult was that team selection for you today, Paul, leaving Taylor Perry and Tommy O'Reilly out of the starting 11 after they played their part in a good home win last week?
I think for Taylor, he was the more unfortunate one in terms of tactics and what I felt could cause them problems. I think Tom had a couple of runs in that first half that caused problems. Probably that was in general play the best outlet down that side of the pitch. So that was not easy, but because Tommy's a different type of player, that's all. And I think towards the end of the game, when there's an element of you gamble with your substitutions, we were very small in comparison to them, so when they got set plays they were always a worry towards the end. Like I said, you're kind of gambling, but I think it did show a difference in terms of physicality. So yes, we've got some good young players, and it's not just the young players. You know, we spoke in there, I said it's a learning for them, as in maybe another experience that they'll go through that will hopefully help their development. They'll see what football's about. We know they want to play at the highest level, and perhaps at times that's not that type of football. And at the same time, we said about the older lads, you know, you've got to also kind of step up, look after them and see it. But I thought it was just an example of a team that, you know, like I said, worked extremely hard. I'm not saying we didn't, but you know, the amount of second balls they pick up and things like that, they do the ugly side of the game extremely well, but then clearly carry a threat at the other end of the pitch.
How nice to get Josh Feeney out there for his Shrewsbury Town debut for the last half an hour or so.
Yeah, it was. As I said, I think we would have liked him to have done a little bit more, but I'm not sure in terms of, Total's got ice on him in there. I'm not sure what injury that is as yet, but I thought when Josh went on, he did pretty well, let's be honest, against when you're taking sort of Rolly Palmer and Jack Marriott off and replacing them with Paul Mullin and Steve Fletcher, and you've got a lad on the bench who's cost £500,000. It's not bad options to have, so I thought he equipped himself well. We obviously need to get him fitter, which is again natural in terms of we need to get him on the training pitch, but I think he did pretty well when he went on.
Yeah, Toto Enciado had just received treatment before going off. It's too early to really know the extent of what he might have done. Yeah,
it looked like he got it either groin or quad area, quite high up on the quad if it is, but you know, no idea at this stage in terms of whether it's anything particularly bad or just as in he's got a bit of a knock or a, you know, soreness in there. We'll obviously pick that up as the days progress.
You mentioned that the Shrewsbury fans, they travelled in good numbers and they did make themselves, so they'll be hurting, I'm sure, after this scoreline at local derby. I'm sure it's the same for all of you.
Yeah.
As well, because it goes without saying.
Absolutely, and I think, you know, fans, as in, you know, myself, I've obviously got I'm very fond of the football club, very proud to lead the football club, if you like, and understand that, but I still think there's something where, you know, I would say 99%, if not all of those fans have been brought up supporting Shrewsbury Town. It's their football club, and they will always be here, you know, a long time after players change, head coaches, managers change, staff changes. So yeah, you know, we wanted to try and give them a special day, and we couldn't quite do that. But as I've referenced already, very grateful for their support. You know, they stuck behind the lads at all times, and you know, we hope that we can give them something to cheer about moving forward, because, as again, to reiterate the point, it's their football club, and yeah, they'll be hurting tonight, I'm sure.
As always, thanks for your time, Paul.
Thank you.